Let us be honest. You don't simply seek energy. You want energy that feels alive. You want to wake up with no fear. You want to feel a calm confidence vibrating inside your chest. You want to enter into a room without feeling as if the air is being sucked out of you. Most importantly, you want to quit pretending you're fine when you're actually not. But what if I told you that what most people refer to as positive energy is really genuine energy at all? Most individuals are looking for short-lived highs, coffee, dopamine, and motivating quotations that will fade by lunchtime. But none of that remains. None of this fills you. You know this deep down. That is why, no matter how many hacks you try, you will always end up at the same low, mental, emotional, and physical level. Because making more noise does not produce true positive energy. It comes from removing the interference. It comes from learning to absorb energy rather than forcing it. It comes from reconnecting with what is already flowing in you but has been stifled by fear, pressure, guilt, overstimulation, and survival patterns you didn't pick. This video isn't about pushing oneself to smile or think positively. This is about the actual physics of energy, why you feel so heavy and what your body and spirit require to light up again from inside. Because once you understand how to fully experience yourself, you stop seeking energy and becoming a source of it. Not for others, but for yourself. Let we begin. One of the main reasons you're continually depleted is because the energy you're utilizing isn't your own. It derives from people's expectations, adrenaline, social media approval, fear of failure, and the need to be loved. You've been using artificial energy sources for so long that you've forgotten how your own current feels. What was the result? You live in survival mode. Stimulation. You push when you're exhausted and grin. When you want to weep, you say yes when you actually mean no. And every time you disregard your truth, you are borrowing energy that you do not have. This is why, even if you didn't accomplish anything, you're fatigued, not physically, but energetically, since you've been leaking your vitality to everything around you. So, before we can supply you with true good energy, we need to disconnect you from the sources that were draining you in the first place. That involves being absolutely honest. Which talks leave you empty? Which obligations make you resentful? Which beneficial behaviors are actually kinds of pressure? You do not restore your energy by adding new chores. You correct it by eliminating the untrue statements. And yes, it is uncomfortable at first because when you stop sprinting on adrenaline, you crash. When you stop performing, your body craves sleep. However, do not confuse this pullback for weakness. It marks the beginning of your true power returning. Allow yourself to cleanse. Allow yourself to disappoint those for whom you worked so hard. Please allow yourself to quit pretending, because unplugging from borrowed energy causes your own current to halt. And that current marks the beginning of everything. Real. Here's something nobody tells you. Real energy does not hurry. It does not shout. It does not come through hype or chaos. True, good energy arrives via stillness. Most individuals never try it because they are afraid to sit still. However, there is a contradiction. You won't know what is yours and what is noise unless you sit motionless. Stillness is when your nervous system resets. Stillness is where your emotional patterns manifest themselves. Stillness is when your inner voice, which has been muffled behind work, may finally speak. You cannot skip this. Every time you try to avoid silence by stimulus, you have short highs followed by deeper drops. However, if you can sit for even a few minutes and truly listen, something changes. You begin to feel where your body is harboring stress. You begin to notice the background noise in your head. You begin to hear the distinction between fear-based urgency and soul-level movement. And it is from this knowledge that you begin to readjust. This is not meditation as a performance. This is called presence as medicine. So make space. 10 minutes. There's no music, no phone, no agenda. It's just you, your breath, and your attentiveness. Allow yourself to be awkward. Allow the thoughts to pour. Allow the discomfort to build. Because just underneath that lies the vitality you've been wishing for. The body does not require incentive. It requires permission to be honest. And if your body feels secure in stillness, it will naturally gravitate towards what nurtures it. Not under coercion, but out of natural instinct. That impulse is your first taste of genuine good energy, the type that comes from inside. Stillness is not the same as an action. Stillness is where your true life begins to speak. Positive energy is more than simply an attitude. It is a frequency, and frequency exists in the body. If your body is rigid, tight, frozen, or numb, your energy will be stifled, regardless of how many affirmations you repeat. This is why following stillness, the next phase is movement. However, this is no ordinary movement. Authentic movement that corresponds to your present energy condition. That may imply stretching, dance in privacy, shaking, deep breathing, followed by sound release. Even just allowing your spine to softly rotate while seated. This type of movement does not require choreography. It demands presence. Your body contains tales it has been holding, anger that has not been voiced, grief, joy, and perplexity. And those emotional residues maintain your frequency at a low, heavy level. However, as you move away from performance and toward reality, those energies begin to leave. This is why you may cry after yoga, laugh after moving your body, or get a sudden sense of serenity after a stroll. It's because your body is clearing blockages and restoring its baseline. Try it. Stand up. Place your hand on your tummy and start moving slowly. Not to appear nice, but to feel authentic. Allow the breath to lead you. Let the sound out. Allow your body to move as it needs. Awkward, gentle, wild. This is how you get back to your fundamental frequency. The one existed before pain, expectations, and programming. And as you reconnect with this current, your entire energy field alters. You don't have to force confidence. It arises. You don't have to feign happiness. You get a feeling of being alive. That aliveness is your unique vibe, and it can only rise once the body ceases to be a prison and begins to function as a channel. Nothing saps your vitality more than the truth. You refuse to talk. You can eat healthily, sleep for 8 hours, and work briefly every morning. However, if you swallow your voice every day, you would still feel heavy, since suppressed expression is the most weight a human can bear. This is why your energy will not rise, since your soul is blocked with hazardous substances. It might be a fact you're keeping from your lover, a barrier you've been hesitant to set. A choice you keep avoiding is a fantasy you keep decreasing. Whatever it is depleting your life power. And until you say it, your energy will not be free. Speaking does not necessarily equal conflict. It represents honesty. Perhaps you wrote it. Perhaps you speak it aloud alone. Perhaps you may softly reveal it to someone safe. However, it must leave your body, because if you mute yourself in order to feel comfortable, your body tenses, your breath reduces your frequency, Lois. You shrink down to be lighter. That isn't positive energy. That is survival energy. The instant you begin expressing the truth, even in little ways, you will feel your power return. You'll feel lighter, clearer, more grounded, and somehow more empathetic, because you are no longer lying to yourself. This isn't about being loud. It's about being genuine. Express your needs. Say what you know. Release what you've been carrying. because until your reality is sound, it will stay your cage. Positive energy cannot pass through a cage. Soul, if you wish to maintain a steady supply of genuine, long-lasting happy energy, you must monitor what you ingest. Not just food, but also sounds, tales, news, conversations, and settings. Every input you let into your field either nurtures or pollutes it. There's no neutral, and if your inputs are overloaded with fear, conflict, drama, or low vibrational repetition, your system will not remain open. It will shut for safety. It will protect itself, and you will see that it has limited energy. Not because you are weak, but because you are absorbing things that are not appropriate for the person you are becoming. Consider whether this podcast makes you feel better or worse. Is this scroll inspiring or numbing me? Does this song nourish my heart or stimulate my neurological system? This does not imply eliminating everything. It entails selecting what your spirit consumes, since you cannot progress into your higher self while feeding on lower self stuff. The inputs you allow establish the energy ceiling you live with. So, if you want to feel alive, optimistic, grounded, and whole, surround yourself with words, tones, settings, and people that exemplify such attributes. Even 10 minutes of uplifting frequency each day can reset your field. Let your content reflect your consciousness. You are not simply filling time. You will either fill your field or drain it. Choose wisely. Most people do not know it, but your thoughts use more energy than your actions. That never-ending loop of overthinking, second-guessing, and fretting is like leaving all the lights on in a house you don't even live in, and the result? You're psychologically weary before the day even starts. This is not purely psychological. It's an energetic leak. Every time you practice a phony conversation, daydream about potential calamities, or replay something you said 5 days ago, you are devoting your efforts to time frames that do not exist. When it comes to really living your life, you feel numb, blank, empty, because your mental energy has already been wasted. If you want to fully fill yourself with good energy, you must stop thinking as a reaction and instead think with intention. This requires capturing the loops, interrupting the spirals, and bringing your focus back to the present. Try that the next time you find yourself overthinking. Do not fight it. Please ask, is this beneficial or is it a habit? If it's a habit, keep it brief. Feel your feet. Feel your breath. Touch something genuine. Get back in your body since it does not spiral. If anchors and when you focus on the current moment, your energy stops leaking and starts regenerating. You don't have to stop thinking. You must quit assuming that every idea is worthy of your attention, since the majority of them are not. And as you start regaining that power, your system begins to light up again, not from an external fuel source, but from the energy you wasted on your way home. You've been told that energy is derived from effort, and that in order to feel better, you must work more. Fix yourself. Push through the tiredness. What if the contrary is true? What if your sense of emptiness stems from your refusal to allow life to move you? What if you still have energy? It's just unsaid. Here's the fact that many folks miss. Beauty is fuel, not the type of beauty that sells items or follows trends, but the type that makes you halt in your tracks and reminds you that I am still here. And this is enough. But in today's society, you've been taught to ignore beauty. Your eyes remain riveted to screens, your ears drown in noise, your breath rushes, and your focus shifts away from the very things that may save you. You do not only need silence, you need everything. Consider the last time you felt the warmth of sunlight on your skin, were affected by a song, or stared at the stars and felt something in your heart. Extend that moment. That was not decoration. That was an enthusiastic recalibration. Beauty informs the nervous system, that life is more than just survival. It reconnects you with significance, presence, tenderness, and the frequency of completeness that your body has been longing for in a culture preoccupied with continuous production. And the greatest part? You do not need to look for it. Beauty is all around you. It is in the shadows, dancing on your wall. It's raining outside the window. It's in how your coffee steams. Someone holds the door. For a stranger in the lives of a child, the sound of birds bickering on a wire. It is everywhere, but you have to slow down long enough to receive it. Begin small. Pause about 30 seconds to really see stuff. Let it strike you. Allow it to make you feel that way. That subtle rising in your chest represents genuine good energy entering your field. And unlike adrenaline, it does not crush. It lingers. It expands. Let beauty be your practice. Make stillness your portal. Allow presence to be your source of strength. Because seeing life as a live canvas rather than a checklist gives you more vitality. You get a feeling of being alive, and this is the most precious energy of all. The biggest deception we've been told is that energy is something we must work for, earn, and deserve. However, true energy, good soul-level energy, is not acquired. It is remembered. It is already inside you. However, it has been buried behind noise, pressure, perfectionism, duties, and survival patterns that have kept you alive but never allowed you to truly live. You now have an option. You can continue to chase spikes of phony happiness, the sort that burns quickly and smashes deeply. Or you may return to your natural condition, which is one of clarity, tranquility, honesty, and embodiment. A state in which energy does not leave you just because you exist. You do not need to be louder. You have to be true. You don't have to be more productive. You should be more present. So unplug. Sit still. Move away from your center. Speak the truth. Choose aligned inputs and see what occurs after your energy is no longer borrowed. But it comes from inside, because the version of you that glows effortlessly is not a fiction. It's only waiting for permission to return.